Bore da, good morning everyone. Is it still morning? Just about. I agree with everything you've just said. I thought I'd focus on my farm to start with anyway. We are 300 acres, 120 odd hectares, and our catchment area is the Arun, and we have 120 livestock units on our farm. That's an important statistic because we're trying to produce as much food from our farmers as consistent with the productive capacity of the land, whilst at the same time minimizing non-renewable inputs. And for us, that's about 30 tons of cheese, quite a few retired barren cows and a few male calves, and this year some carrots. We're growing carrots in a wonderful coalition, Food Sense Wales, Farming Connect, Castell Howell, and the Welsh Government are in a partnership, which is, we've grown about an acre of carrots, and they're going to Carmarthenshire schools, and actually schools further afield as well. And we're very proud of that. It's an amazing scheme, and it's brilliant. And so that's what we produce from our hill, and we think that all farms in Wales should in the future move towards producing the food which is consistent with their ecosystem, which the farmers are managing. And at the moment, many farms are just platforms for imported inputs, and it's causing a huge problem. We've been doing this for 51 years, and our yields are going up, and our farm is alive. I think we haven't been measured properly, but we think we're carbon negative. We've got fantastic biodiversity, and a special place to swim is our pond where I swim every day, and it's amazingly clear water, and the catchment area is our hill. I've also got a day job with the Sustainable Food Trust, and I might refer to that in a sec. Our cheese is called Havod, and it's named after a holding in the Arun Valley, and we've rented it for the last 43 years, so since 1980. And last year was the very first year that there were no fish in the river. I've always seen something. Obviously, when we started, there was salmon and sea trout, and it was really amazing. And last year, there was absolutely nothing, not even fry, nothing. And I'm desperately upset about that. And I know that the fact that that river has died is to do with, in part, agriculture. And to investigate this, 2 years ago, we did a river pilgrimage. We walked from the source to the mouth of the Arun at Aber Arun, and it took us 2 days with the British Pilgrimage Trust. We started right at the top near Treventer. We swam in a lake up there, and then we walked the river, and we saw the evolution of the river. And after that first swim, none of us wanted to swim in the river. And the reason was split, I'd say about 70-30 between agricultural pollution and septic tanks, maybe a bit of sewage works as well. And the septic tank thing is important because it's, what we do to nature, what we do to ourselves, we do to nature, we do to ourselves. And what we put down our loos and our sinks these days is definitely part of the problem. But I think 70% of the problem is agriculture. And I'm not about to have a rant against farmers, because all the farmers in Wales have merely responded to the policy signals which have really said to us all, get big or get out. And so most farmers, especially dairy farmers, have responded to those policy signals by intensifying. And I know farmers that are struggling even to make a living with hundreds of cows. When we started, we were 30, we're 90 today. And we're not a statistic of a small family farm that went out of milk only because we make cheese and I've got a day job. And I think that's wrong. I think it ought to be possible for small family farms to be, once again, the heart of rural culture in Wales. And we can only do that if we change the way we farm at scale. And at the moment, that's not possible because there's not a business case for it. So what are the solutions? Well, this is where it's, I think, very interesting. We need to build a coalition of people who want to create the transition together. And I believe that the Welsh Government needs to play a leadership role, but not the only role in that coalition. So let's supposing that with this new £1.7 billion that has just been awarded, I think, to the Welsh Government, some of it was spent on agriculture. It should be. And I would say we should learn from Northern Ireland, which I understand was mentioned yesterday. The Northern Ireland Department of Agriculture made the entry into the post-Brexit agricultural support scheme conditional on measuring. And they didn't know how many farmers would sign up to that scheme. Turned out 92% of them did. So in other words, you couldn't get the post-Brexit money unless you agreed to measure using a combination of a carbon soil core scheme, which is every single field on all the participant farms in Northern Ireland, and a thing called LIDAR, which is basically aerial stuff, where you can look at biodiversity and other stuff from photography. And I would suggest that in Wales we should not only do that, we should get better than the Northern Irish, because obviously we're not in a competition, but on the other hand, we need to plagiarise what they've done and improve on it. And my suggestion would be that we should, the First Minister, who sadly is not with us, but hopefully she can hear about this later, should understand that it's not excusable to spend public money on agriculture unless we find out what the impacts are. So for 5 years, we should collect baseline data on climate, on nature, and on social impacts. And I want to just pause on social, because I think the most important aspect of agricultural support is social. It's public health. And if we could demonstrate that more nutrient-dense and safe food produced in Wales and eaten in Wales will have cultural benefits, will have social benefits, would reduce NHS treatment costs, as well as being part of the climate solution and the nature solution, then I think the government ought to be interested, because I think there's money to be saved in doing this. So if we had a holistic measurement framework, we collected baseline data for 5 years, then we would find out which farms are part of the solution and which are part of the problem. And I'm not demonising the dairy farms that have intensified, but the truth is they are the primary cause, and the other intensive farms, the chicken farms in the Wye Valley, they are the primary cause of why our rivers are dead. So we have to send economic signals to farmers that if they go in the regenerative direction, it'll pay better. So here's my proposition, because the Welsh Government can't find all the money, we know that. I get £100 an acre from my subsidy, roughly. So it's 30,000 quid we get in our 300 acres. I get probably, if I'm lucky, another £100 of profit from producing cheese and carrots in my case. I need another £100 for my climate, nature and social public good benefits. And if we could find a way to reward farmers who deliver those benefits after we collected the baseline data, and then we monetize that, then we could shift the balance of financial advantage towards regenerative transition. And all that money probably can't come from the Welsh Government, but it could come from banks, from food companies. Castell Howler are subsidising the Welsh Veg in School thing, supermarkets, water companies who have a benefit of saving money in treatment costs if they support sustainable agriculture, and the asset management community, because lots of people have so-called scope 3 emissions, which actually if we can show, the farming community show that we are carbon stewards, we could get paid for that. So I think we put all that together. We need a coalition of farmers and farming organisations. This must include NFU, Cymru and FUW. It must do. And the NGO community and the business community and the Welsh Government round a table together. We could build that coalition and we could persuade the First Minister and the Agriculture Secretary and all the other people that need to be in this loop to shift the balance of economic advantage towards regenerative transition. I don't think it'll happen unless we all work together. And I think your point about bringing the public with us is crucial. So we have to find a parallel education programme for the public. And in July this year, we launched a network of beacon farms. The idea is that farms should be educational platforms. And on our farm, we've got a converted threshing barn, and we've hosted 40 events in the last 2 years, including the Health and Wellbeing of Future Generations away day team very recently. And we think we've got to get every child in Wales onto a farm which is regenerative-ish, or moving in that direction, during that formative period, but not just children, everyone. And we can do that if we work together. So I better stop because I think I've run out of time.